Well, I think this is a very difficult situation for any politician. The catastrophe we experienced last week is the biggest ever since Latvian independence. And as Prime Minister said, he's taking and assuming the full political and moral responsibility. Of course, after this catastrophe, government has done most urgent actions government needed to do. But after a few days, he has announced today that he has decided to resign. And well, the politicians in Latvia and media commentators have shown a great high respect for the decision.
Well, I can see just in the last few minutes he's been speaking to local journalists saying, I take moral and political responsibility in the context of this tragedy. I wonder if that might have something to do with the fact that the austerity measures he introduced included abolishing the National Building Inspectorate. That doesn't look like a very good decision now.
Well, in 2009, government made a very substantial cuts and very substantial structural reforms, reducing various kinds of state agencies by 50%. And of course, trying to make the duties of these agencies as efficient as before.
Well, it wasn't just about efficiency, was it? It was about wanting to get into the Eurozone, which you will do next year. Surely Latvia has been seen to have done too much too soon.
Well, the economy in Latvia is growing and growing quite substantially and stable already last 3 years. And as you said, we are expecting to be members of Eurozone starting from next January. But when such catastrophes happen, then of course all other things probably for politicians are not so relevant.
But I want to understand this. Every Eurozone country will want any new country joining to be stable, to have a political leadership that it can deal with and which can deliver long-term stability. What kind of message do you think Latvia has sent out today with the Prime Minister and the government going because of the collapse of a supermarket roof?
Well, I think in similar situations, politicians have made similar decisions because this is really the biggest ever catastrophe in Latvian history. And politicians have agreed to start negotiations, to start consultations about a new government already next week. And well, this government apparently will have a mandate, and Prime Minister announced he will not stand for post of Prime Minister. This government should work until next October, when we will have parliamentary elections.
So you've got that until next October, but as I understand it, the first half of 2015, Latvia will assume the rotating presidency of the Council of the European Union. Are you really in a position to perform that presidency with this much political instability?
We will be in position to perform this presidency because we knew that in October 14 we will have parliamentary elections, and our government who will perform the presidency will be confirmed November 2014.
And finally, a question about the investigation into the collapse of the supermarket. All Latvians, many people watching us around the world, want to know why those people died. Will this resignation have any impact on efforts to understand what happened?
Well, Prime Minister really stressed that rule of law will be the main principle that should be observed also for the next government, and he will do his utmost to safeguard this principle. And I think the demand of Latvian society to be clear who is responsible, who should hold the responsibility, and well, who should hold the criminal responsibility for this collapse is so high that any government will obey to this demand.